Welcome to Cape Henlopen State Park in Lewis, Delaware. So I'm going to take you on a walk around the state park and around the campground to show you what it has to offer. We love it here at Cape Henlopen. So as you're driving into the state park, you will be directed to 2 separate booths if it's really crowded to pay to get into the park. Delaware vehicles are only $5 and out-of-state vehicles are $10. If you're headed to the campground, you just continue to go straight up this road until you get to the campground. So welcome. There is a booth that you need to check in there, and then there is some overflow parking. If you have guests that want to come visit, they can park right there in that parking lot. This is a pretty big state park, so I'm going to walk you through each of the rows and show you all these spots that they have, show you the cabins, show you the tent sites, and we're going to walk through and see it all together. There's a bike loop that goes around the state park, and this is one of the entrances. It's right in front of Road A in the campground. So if you go down row B, you'll find the camp store and a playground, and you can also access that from row C. Here's row C. We'll walk through that in a little bit. These are all one-way roads. And then we keep coming around the corner. There is another access to that bike loop right here where you see the crosswalk. So you have tons of access to the bike loop if you'd like to walk around the state park. A lot of people also put their tents on the RV sites, which is totally fine. There are tent sections, but you're, of course, more than welcome to put your tent anywhere you'd like. So some of the spots, which you'll see, are about 20 foot, and then others are 40 feet. So right here, obviously, this is one of the sites that are 40 foot long. They do fit pretty nice size rigs on. Ours, for example, is 33 feet long, and it fits with plenty of room. And then the next one might be one of the 20-foot sites, which you would fit the pop-up or a tent or just a small one. Actually, nope, it's a big one. I spoke too soon. So there's another 40-foot one. And if you can't see the numbers on the poles, if you look down on the ground, they're also the site number on the ground. So that's E5, so you'd see that big 05 on the blacktop. There are a few pull-throughs spread out into the park. These sites are massive and long, and they can fit a very big rig. You have to really try to get them quickly, a year in advance. So here's another one of those pull-throughs. Some sites have much larger spaces next to them, and then some of the sites have barely any space. So what we do is when we're there, we check out the following year, and then we scope out what the site looks like before we book. So there's another pull-through, very large space right there. So I'm actually going back to row F. So row F has a mix of some tent sites back here, some extra parking for the tents, and some RV sites. Again, there's where that car is. That's one of the smaller ones. That'll fit a tent or a pop-up or just a smaller camper if you have that. So this is row F. This is the very last row in the campground before you get to the cabins. So it's a nice space right there for your things. Yeah, it's a nice site. Nope. That was a good one. Kind of hidden, right? So again, we do have some more tents that you can have over here. This is kind of by the cabins. There is also another tent-specific place. So we're gonna come down and do the cabin loop. There's a little tiny circle with some nice cabins you can stay in. These are probably hard to book, so make sure you book quickly. Around the circle. A little bit of a hill, though. You guys can just stay right here if you want. Okay, hold on. I'll be right back around. Thank you, James. Thank you.
On your second lap, if you want, you can try going.
All right, let's come back to row D. So we've covered F, G, and the cabins. And then we're going to move up now closer to the front of the campground. So again, we have our mix of cars, tents, RVs, pop-ups, really whatever you can fit in that space that you get. There's another nice long pull through. So if you see the little crosswalk right there, there is a little path that connects all of the rows, and it leads you right down to row A. But it passes by the playground and the camp store and where you do laundry, and I'll show you all that later. Yep. And now Road C. We stayed in Road C our first time coming to Cape Henlopen. It's a good spot to stay. You're kind of closer to the playground where my kids wanted to be, and you're really close to the camp store. So we definitely prefer row C and B. Yeah. That was our site 2 years ago.
Huh?
That was our site 2 years ago.
2?
Yeah.
That?
Yep.
Are you ever gonna hit?
I don't know. C2.
Wait, was that one our smaller camper?
No.
Huh?
No.
Mom,
Honey. Alright, so here we are. Here's your first glimpse of kind of the center of the campground. You have camp store, laundry, playground, bathhouse. There's also bathhouses spread out around the entire campground. Yes, he does. And here we are at Road B. So I filmed at a different time of the day. Sorry if the sun is shining a little brighter. I did this one in the morning, so we have that sun coming in from the east. This is the row we stayed in this year, and we were right across from all the action. And my kids had a blast. So every row has a host, and there'll be a sign there saying host on duty, host off duty. If you have any questions, you go see the host of each row, and they will help you with any issues you might have. And then we come down to row A. Row A is the only row that people can come out of, so the road goes the opposite way as the other ones. So when you leave the campground, it'll eventually direct you to road A, and you can make your way out to the exit to get to the beach or wherever you'd like to go for the day. Morning. Probably.
All the videos?
Maybe. They do have sites here on the right side of the road where you park on the road, and then you have a huge area down in the trees and in the sand for your tent, or if you can fit your RV there and it doesn't have any slides that pop out into the road, you can also use that space. And last but not least, this is the tent loop. Really, really nice sites. They have their own restroom area here. I'm going to walk you through and show each site. I went through here in the morning, so I tried to quietly say what each site was in case you couldn't see the numbers on the posts. That's G12. G11. G17. G18. G10. G9. This is G8. G7. G6. G19. G5. G4. G21. G3. G22. G2. G1. All right, now it's time to show all the things around the campground. So there's our playground, campground stores here.
Mom, I'm watching my
If you need to buy wood, you can come in and you can buy these bundles of wood. And if you come around the corner, there's plenty of ice if you also need some ice. So let's take a look at the store. Come on in. So when you come in, of course, there's boogie boards because we're at the beach. And there's all the things, all the kid things. They can literally find anything to buy. You just have some basic camp things, t-shirts, towels, flip-flops. And then you have a few drinks and bars, like Nature Valley bars, granola bars. There's fresh eggs and bacon, just kind of your basic needs, and some ice cream. But no worries if the store doesn't have what you have or have what you need. Lewis has plenty of grocery stores, and then you're right outside of Rehoboth, so you can always find the things you need. You come around the corner, we have laundry 24 hours. There's a couple washing machines, a couple dryers, and then there are large utility sinks if you need to wash your dishes if you are in the tent sites or don't want to use the water in your camper. As you are leaving the campground, there are plenty of dumpsters to put your trash in. There are recycling bins. And then you'll come through this path if you want to walk, obviously. When you come through this path, there are 3 large spots with dump stations to dump before you leave. So let's leave the campground and go to the beach. That's why you're here. So this is the main beach house when you are coming to the ocean in Cape Henlopen. There has a nice walkout pier, or there are a few spots you can walk out to the beach. Maybe about 100 yards down to the left, where you don't have the food and the bathroom facilities, but they are close enough that you can walk to if you wanted it throughout the day. There's concessions, umbrella and beach chair rentals. So really anything you need is here for the day. There are some outdoor showers if you just want to rinse off sand. And then as you come down the pier, there also is another space where you can wash your feet off, your boogie boards, all the things that are kind of lower you can clean off before you walk back to your car. They also post when high and low tide is for the day, which is pretty nice to figure out where you need to sit and when the water is going to come up to your spot and wash you away. So we have learned that if you walk down this center pier, you will have a little bit harder time finding a spot on the beach. It's a little bit more crowded right here than it is if you walk down about 100 yards. In the next clip, you'll kind of see how much more spread out the beach gets as you walk a little bit further away. All right, this is my kids' favorite place to come when we come to Cape Henlopen, is the nature center. It's also next to the nature center. They do have bike rentals if you're looking to rent a bike to ride around on the bike loop. So my kids love to come in here because they have a small touch tank, and you can feel the horseshoe crabs, and there are little fish that you can put in and try to touch. They really enjoy this. And then you can walk through and see different fish and turtles and animals and snakes. And of course, they love the gift shop.
Want to see here?
Shut. There's a fish.
So around the state park, there is a bike loop. It's about 3 miles. And my kids love riding to and from the beach, the nature center. From the campground, it's about 1 mile to the nature center and about 1.5 miles to the beach if you go on the bike loop. So it's an easy ride, easy walk. And my kids love going around on this. It's also a great running path in the morning if you like to run or walk. So we really enjoy this feature of the state park.
That's okay. I don't care.
And if you're wondering, the bike loop does go right past the beach house. So all those cars are parked at the beach house. So it's very easy access to get to if you just want to ride your bike to the beach for the day. Herring Point is another beach that you have access to in the state park. The parking lot's a little bit smaller. And I believe dogs are allowed to be on this beach as long as they are leashed. And I know in the morning, surfers come on this beach. It's unguarded, so you're more than welcome to come at your own risk. Good morning, how are you?
Well, a little hot already.
It is very hot. So the fishing pier is another fun little beach on the bay you can come to. There is a long fishing pier, so you can fish off of it. And there's a small little beach that you can swim at. Just be cautious of fishing hooks. There's a little store, pavilion, and you can rent kayaks to go out on the bay. My kids do enjoy coming to this one because there are no waves. They can get out their tubes and they can float in the water. We can get out the paddleboard and go paddleboarding. But I do make sure that they wear water shoes in here just in case there are some hooks from the fishing pier. Another place you can visit in Cape Henlopen State Park is Fort Miles Museum. Another part of the state park is one of the observation towers. It's right behind the campground, so it's really easy to get to, just by bike ride or to walk. And my kids absolutely love climbing to the top and looking at the view. It's 115 steps to the top.
Wait for me. 116 steps.
15.
No,
115.
that's what I did. I found
We got lucky this night for a beautiful sunset. All right, so now there are some things to show you outside of the state park. There's the Lewis Ferry that takes you over to Cape May. And then you can ride down the road just a little bit, maybe 2 miles from the state park. And there are some parking lots in Lewis where you can park and go to the Bay Beach. The beaches are really large, tons of room, and this is really nice for your kids that don't like the waves. They can go and play, they can play in the sand, and they can swim in the water without worrying about the waves crashing on them. So another fun thing you can do is to go to Rehoboth Beach. This is, depending on the traffic, a 20 to 30 minute drive. And they have tons of shops, a boardwalk, and my kids love Funland.
Mom, on the lights in beautiful.
I hope you enjoyed our tour of Cape Henlopen State Park, and happy camping.